Hello everyone, it's us again, the dedicated team behind the TV channel Days Drama Digest. We're back with another deep dive into the swirling vortex of intrigue, passion, and heartbreak that defines our beloved soap opera, Days of Our Lives. If you're a longtime fan like us, you know that Salem is never short on shocking twists, forbidden romances, and gut-wrenching goodbyes. Today, we're turning our spotlight to one of the show's most enduring and tormented characters, Chad. Demera, played with brooding intensity by Billy Flynn for over a decade. Chad has been the epitome of the tortured anti-hero, a man torn between his Demera legacy of darkness and his desperate yearning for a stable, loving family life. But whispers from the set and recent plot developments have us convinced that we might be saying a poignant, tear-stained goodbye to Chad early this year, right after the New Year's confetti has settled. Could this be the end of an era? Let's delve into our predictions, unpack the drama, and explore whether this farewell is truly on the horizon. Buckle up, dear viewers, because this speculation is about to get intensely emotional and dramatically detailed. To understand why Chad's potential departure feels like a dagger to the heart, we must first revisit the tumultuous journey that has defined his time in Salem. Chad Demera, the youngest son of the infamous Stefano Demera, arrived in town back in 2009 as a wide-eyed teenager. But it wasn't until Billy Flynn took over the role in 2014 that Chad truly evolved into the complex powerhouse we know today. Flynn's portrayal captured the essence of a man perpetually at war with himself, haunted by his father's manipulative shadow, yet fiercely protective of those he loves. Remember those early days when Chad was entangled in a love triangle with Abigail Devereaux and her cousin Melanie Jonas? The passion was electric, the betrayals razor sharp. Chad's Demera blood often led him down paths of deception and revenge, but his heart always pulled him back toward redemption. Over the years, we've watched him battle brain tumors, endure fake deaths, and navigate the treacherous waters of corporate intrigue at Demera Enterprises. His marriage to Abigail, what a roller coaster that was, brought moments of pure bliss interspersed with unimaginable tragedy. Abigail's brutal murder in 2022 left Chad a shattered widower, raising their two young children, Thomas and Charlotte, amid the chaos of Salem's endless schemes. And speaking of schemes, let's not forget the recent Demera hostage crisis that gripped us all in late 2025. The storyline was a masterclass in suspense, with family members kidnapped, alliances shattered, and secrets exploding like fireworks over the Salem River. Chad, ever the reluctant hero, found himself at the center of it all, desperately trying to protect his loved ones while grappling with the ghosts of his past. The peril evaded Salem residents just in time for the holidays, but the emotional scars run deep. Jennifer Horton, Abigail's mother and a pillar of strength in the Devereaux Horton clan, stepped in during one of Chad's darkest hours, when Chad was kidnapped. Another abduction in the long line of Demera misfortunes. Jennifer whisked Thomas and Charlotte away to the safety of Boston, where she and her husband, Jack Devereaux, have been rebuilding their lives. Boston, with its historic charm and distance from Salem's toxic underbelly, offered a temporary haven for the children. But now, as we enter 2026, the question looms, could this temporary relocation become permanent? We at Days Drama Digest believe it might, and the implications are nothing short of devastating. Picture this: Chad, his chiseled features etched with exhaustion and grief, standing alone in the opulent yet eerily empty Demera mansion. The echoes of his children's laughter have faded, replaced by the cold silence of unresolved trauma. After the kidnapping ordeal, Chad's world has been upended once more. His children, Thomas and Charlotte, were uprooted from their familiar surroundings in Salem, the parks where they played, the schools where they learned, the family gatherings filled with both joy and dysfunction. Jennifer's decision to take them to Boston wasn't just a protective measure, it was a lifeline. In Boston, the kids could escape the constant threat of Demera enemies lurking in the shadows. We've heard rumors, whispers from reliable sources close to the production that Thomas and Charlotte have already enrolled in a prestigious new school there. Imagine little Thomas with his curious eyes and Demera mischief, adjusting to new classmates and teachers, perhaps even thriving away from the drama. Charlotte, the innocent bundle of energy, might be forming bonds with cousins and extended family in a city that promises normalcy. But what about Chad? Our prediction is that he won't be able to stay away for long. The pull of fatherhood is too strong, the void too profound. We envision a heart-wrenching scene where Chad, after a sleepless night pacing the mansion floors, makes the fateful decision to pack his bags. He'll gaze at old photos of Abigail, tears streaming down his face, whispering promises to her memory that he'll keep their children safe no matter the cost. Following them to Boston isn't just a logistical move, it's an emotional odyssey. Chad chooses to let the kids finish their school year uninterrupted, prioritizing their stability over his own desires to reclaim his life in Salem. This move would allow him to reunite with Jennifer and Jack, who have their own storied history and Days of Our Lives. Jack, the intrepid journalist with a penchant for resurrection plots, and Jennifer, the compassionate matriarch, could provide the support Chad so desperately needs. Together, they might form a new family unit healing old wounds while forging ahead. But oh, the drama. What about Chad's ties to Demera Enterprises? His complicated relationships with siblings like EJ, Kristen, and Stevan? Leaving Salem could mean abandoning power struggles. But it also risks igniting new feuds, perhaps a custody battle or a corporate takeover bid from afar. Now, let's add another layer of intrigue, the actor changes that are shaking the foundations of this storyline. It's no secret that the soap world thrives on recasts, but these feel particularly poignant. Billy Flynn, who has embodied Chad with such raw vulnerability and magnetic charm, is set to depart the show. His final episodes are slated for early 2026, creating a palpable gap in the narrative. Flynn's exit has been the talk of fan forums and social media, with many speculating on how the writers will handle it. Will Chad meet a tragic end, echoing the fates of so many Demera men before him? Or will he simply fade into the sunset, leaving room for a triumphant return? Our sources indicate that Connor Floyd, known for his role as Chance Chancellor on The Young and the Restless, will step into Chad's shoes starting in April 2026. Floyd brings a fresh energy, perhaps a slightly edgier take on the character, with his proven ability to handle complex emotional arcs. But the transition won't be seamless. There's that infamous gap between Flynn's last broadcast and Floyd's debut. During this interim, the storyline could take a dramatic pause, with Chad's absence explained by his move to Boston. It's a clever narrative device, allowing the audience to mourn Flynn's version while building anticipation for the new era. And it's not just Chad who's facing a recast. Young Thomas Demera is also getting a new face. Carrie Christopher, who has delightfully portrayed Thomas since 2020 with wide-eyed innocence and occasional precocious wit, is being replaced. The new actor's debut aligns with April 2026, syncing perfectly with Chad's return or reintroduction. This double recast adds fuel to our prediction fire. Why change both father and son at the same time unless the storyline demands a fresh start? Perhaps the writers are using this as an opportunity to age Thomas up slightly, making him a more active participant in future plots. Imagine the emotional weight of Chad reuniting with his son in Boston, only for both to return to Salem transformatively and metaphorically. The gap in airing could be filled with flashbacks, voiceovers, or even off-screen references, heightening the suspense. We've seen similar tactics in past storylines, like when characters go missing only to resurface with new actors and renewed vigor. Let's expand on the dramatic possibilities here. Suppose Chad's departure is precipitated by a climactic event post-New Year. Maybe a lingering threat from the Demera hostage crisis reemerges, forcing Chad to confront his mortality. In a scene dripping with tension, Chad could be cornered in the Demera tunnels, those infamous underground lairs, where so many secrets are buried. Gunfire echoes, alliances fracture, and Chad barely escapes with his life. Clutching a photo of his children, he realizes that Salem's poison is seeping into their innocence. I can't do this anymore, he might whisper to EJ, his voice breaking. For Thomas and Charlotte's sake, I have to go. The farewell scenes would be epic, a tearful goodbye to Stephanie Johnson, his recent romantic interest filled with what-ifs and lingering kisses, a tense confrontation with Kristen, where old grudges flare but ultimately give way to reluctant respect, and perhaps a poignant moment with Theo Carver, Chad's half-brother, who recently awoke from a coma amid the family chaos. Theo, grappling with his own Demera identity, could urge Chad to seek peace elsewhere, adding layers of familial angst. In Boston, the story could unfold with vivid detail. Chad arrives unannounced, his suitcase in hand, standing on Jennifer and Jack's doorstep amid a gentle snowfall because soaps love seasonal drama. Jennifer's eyes well up as she embraces him, whispering, "Abigail would be so proud." Jack, ever the wise mentor, offers sage advice over late-night coffees, reminiscing about their shared losses. The children, initially wary of the change, gradually warm to their new life. Thomas might excel in his new school, discovering a passion for journalism like his grandfather Jack. Charlotte could find solace in family stories, her laughter echoing through the Devereaux home. But drama follows Demera's like a shadow, perhaps a mysterious figure from Salem tracks Chad down, threatening to upend this fragile peace. Or internal conflicts arise. Chad struggles with guilt over leaving his siblings to fend for themselves in the corporate shark tank. This move isn't just about geography, it's a metaphor for Chad's internal evolution. From the ruthless businessman who once plotted against his own family, to the devoted father seeking redemption, Chad's arc has been one of transformation. Leaving Salem could symbolize shedding the Demera curse. But we all know soaps don't let characters escape that easily. Our prediction includes a potential return arc, where Chad, played by Floyd, comes back to Salem in April 2026, hardened by his time away but with renewed purpose. Maybe he uncovers a conspiracy tying back to Stefano's legacy, pulling him into the fray once more. The recast gap allows for off-screen growth. Chad could undergo therapy, explore new relationships, or even face a mini-crisis in Boston that tests his resolve. Let's not overlook the impact on the children. Thomas DiMera, named after his great-grandfather Thomas Banks but carrying the weight of the DiMera name, has already endured so much. From losing his mother to witnessing family feuds, his young life has been a whirlwind. The recast could introduce a more mature Thomas, perhaps dealing with teenage angst prematurely. Imagine scenes where he questions his father's decisions. Why did we have to leave Salem, Dad? Was it because of the bad people? Chad's responses would be laced with emotion, revealing vulnerabilities we've rarely seen. Charlotte, the younger sibling, might represent hope, her innocence a beacon amid the darkness. Their school year in Boston becomes a narrative thread, with episodes flashing between Salem's ongoing dramas and the quieter yet still tense life in Massachusetts. The actor dynamics add another dramatic dimension. Billy Flynn's departure has been bittersweet, with the actor opening up about his bittersweet exit after 10 years. In interviews, Flynn has spoken of the role's diminished emotional toll of portraying grief, betrayal, and love in equal measure. His move to the young and the restless signals new beginnings, but for fans, it's a loss. Connor Floyd's arrival promises excitement. His experience with complex characters like Chance Chancellor suggests he'll bring depth to Chad. Yet, the transition period, that mysterious gap, fuels speculation. Will the writers kill off Flynn's Chad temporarily only to resurrect him with Floyd? Soaps love a good resurrection. Or will it be a simple off-screen adventure with Chad's voice heard in phone calls or letters? We can't ignore the broader implications for Days of Our Lives. Chad's exit, even temporary, creates ripples. E.J. DiMera might seize more power at the company, leading to explosive boardroom battles. Stephanie could spiral into new romances, her heart still aching for Chad. The Deborah Horton family in Boston gains prominence, potentially setting up crossovers or spin-off teases. And the fans? Oh, the fans will be in an uproar: petitions, social media campaigns, emotional tributes. We've seen it before with iconic departures like Bo Brady or Sammy Brady. So, do we think Chad is left for good? Our hearts say Nacha DiMera is too integral to Salem's DNA, but the signs point to a dramatic farewell early in 2026, with the Boston relocation providing a poetic exit. It's a storyline ripe with tears, twists, and the promise of return. What do you think, fellow fans? Will Chad pack his bags and head to Boston, leaving Salem in his rearview? Or will a shocking twist keep him tethered? Let's discuss it in the comments below. Share your theories, your fears, your hopes. After all, in the world of Days of Our Lives, like sands through the hourglass, so are the days of our dramatic predictions. But wait, there's more to unpack. Let's dive deeper into Chad's psychological state post-kidnapping. The trauma of being held captive, separated from his children, will leave lasting scars. Imagine Chad experiencing nightmare-filled flashbacks to the dark, damp room where he was imprisoned, the taunts of his captors echoing in his mind. In therapy sessions, because modern soaps love a good mental health arc, Chad might confess his deepest fears: I can't protect them here. Salem chews up families like ours. This vulnerability humanizes him, making his decision to follow the kids to Boston feel inevitable. Jennifer's role becomes crucial as Abigail's mother. She embodies the connection to Chad's lost love. Their interactions could be charged with unspoken grief, shared glances over family dinners, where the absence of Abigail hangs like a storm cloud. Jack Devereaux, with his history of dramatic returns from the dead, could serve as a mentor figure. Picture late-night conversations on the porch, Jack sharing stories of his own exiles and comebacks. Salem has a way of pulling you back, Chad, he might say, foreshadowing the April return. The children adapt in their own ways. Thomas, perhaps, rebels slightly against the move, sneaking calls to friends in Salem. Charlotte clings to her father, her small hands tugging at his shirt as she asks about mommy in heaven. These details add emotional depth, turning a simple relocation into a symphony of heartache. On the actor front, the recast of Thomas amplifies the drama. Carrie Christopher's portrayal captured the boy's wide-eyed wonder, but the new actor might bring a more introspective vibe, aligning with an aged-up character. The synchronicity with Chad's recast suggests a deliberate narrative reset, perhaps a time jump during the gap where months pass off-screen. This allows for character development without daily episodes, building mystery. Speculating further, what if Chad's Boston stint uncovers hidden family secrets? Maybe a long-lost DiMera relative surfaces, drawing him into new intrigue. Or a romantic subplot emerges: meets someone who reminds him of Abigail, sparking guilt and passion. These hypotheticals keep the storyline alive during the hiatus. Ultimately, Chad's potential goodbye is a testament to Days of Our Lives' enduring appeal, its ability to blend high-stakes drama with intimate human moments. As we bid adieu temporarily to Billy Flynn's Chad, we anticipate Connor Floyd's fresh take. The move to Boston with Thomas and Charlotte feels right a chance for healing amid the chaos. But in Salem, nothing is ever truly over. Let's keep the conversation going. What's your take on Chad's fate?